Hello everybody, welcome. My name is Chef Rob. I miss you all at the library, but I'm so glad that you are watching me virtually, and I hope everybody has a very happy and healthy 2021. I designed this class for everybody to have some fun during the holidays and going into winter. So let's make a cinnamon swirled chocolate chip bread. Okay, let's get going. We're going to do the dry ingredients first. Please make sure you use the exact ingredients that is on the recipe, because it really will make or break this recipe. Okay, it's really good. So let's do our dry ingredients first. We're going to take 2 cups of the all-purpose flour. Make sure it is full, that it is spooned out and nice and level. 2 cups. This is 1. And our last one. This will be perfect for like a brunch. This is good for snacking at night, during the day. Really good. Okay. Now I want 1 full teaspoon of the baking soda. Just going to add that right in. A ½ teaspoon of salt. The salt will bring out all the flavor in this. Don't overpour. Make sure you get it full though. And then I want 2/3 of a cup of chocolate chips. With this, you can use the semi-sweet, you can use the dark chocolate, the milk chocolate would be all fine. Okay, so 2/3 of it. So this is 1/3 and 2/3. Just going to take this, mix this up really good. Get those chocolate chips all mixed in there. Now what we're going to do is just leave that on the side, and we're going to go on to our wet ingredients. Okay, our wet ingredients. I'm going to take a ½ cup of brown sugar. Make sure you pack it really well. You can use the light or the dark for this recipe. Okay, just like that. And then a ¼ cup of the white granulated sugar. Make sure you use the full amount of sugar, because it will bring the moisture and the texture into this bread. Okay, and it's the same with all baked goods, whether it's cookies, scones, breads, anything like that. Now 1 egg. I took the egg out 1 hour ago, so this way it's at nice and room temperature, and it will incorporate in the batter really good. Take a whisk. You want to whisk out all the lumps of the brown sugar with the egg. You just don't want any little clumps of brown sugar in there. So kind of just hit it with your whisk and it will dissolve very quickly. Okay. Now we're going to put in 1 cup of the buttermilk. The buttermilk, take out the buttermilk about an hour ahead, because you want that also to get to room temperature. Really important in baking all your baked goods at room temperature. The only exception is if you're using butter and it calls for very cold butter, or it calls for soft butter or melted butter. Always make sure you follow that. So 1 full cup. Make sure you always shake the buttermilk. Buttermilk usually used in a lot of like the Irish soda bread muffins, but you can also make dressings out of it, and you can soak chicken in it to use it up as well. Okay, so 1 cup of the buttermilk, and now a 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. You could use canola oil in this as well. See the mark there. And you also could, instead of vegetable oil or canola oil, use a melted coconut oil. and that would work with this just fine. Get all these ingredients really good together. And now 1 teaspoon of the pure vanilla extract. Make sure you use the pure, it's the best. 1 full teaspoon. Okay. Let's whisk this in. We're going to put the wet into the dry. Again, as you're putting it in, make sure it is whisked really good. And then let's just start mixing the batter. You don't want to overmix this batter, okay, because it can become a little bit of a tough texture if you overmix it. So as soon as you see no flour in here, just stop, okay? Now this bread is going to bake in a 350 oven, and it will take about 50 to 65 minutes at the most, okay? You're going to use a 9x5 loaf pan. So you want to get all the way to the bottom, get all that flour mixed in. This will freeze really well. You can keep this on your counter for probably about 5 days with it staying nice and fresh. You test it with a toothpick to see if it is done. If it's not wet, it means it is done. So this is our batter right here. Now we need to make the cinnamon swirl. Let's make the cinnamon swirl very, very easy. 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. Make sure you use the full tablespoon too. And then 1/3 cup of the granulated white sugar. And now you could just mix this up. Just take a little spoon, just kind of make this little cinnamon sugar right here. Make sure it's all nice and blended in well. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're just going to give this pan a little bit of spray. Quick spray, don't overspray the pan because you don't want to taste the spray, you just don't want it to stick. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take half of this batter and put it into the pan. Okay, now take your spatula, spread this out really good. With this nice thick batter, the chocolate chips kind of just really stay in the center of the whole bread so they don't sink to the bottom. They're not too heavy. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take about 3/4 of the cinnamon sugar and just kind of dust it right over it. You want to coat pretty much the whole bread, but make sure you still reserve about 1/4 of this for the top. This has such good flavor in it. If you use a little bit bigger of a pan or a smaller of a pan, you got to adjust the time on it. Now let's just take the rest of this remaining batter and put it right in here. Okay, now kind of gently, don't bring up that cinnamon sugar from down below. Just kind of lightly bring the batter and kind of cover it. If you wanted to put a little bit of sliced bananas in between this would work. You really couldn't put a fruit in this batter because it would be too wet and it would never really seem like it cooked all the way through. Okay, I got all that batter out. Just drop that in there. And now I'm just going to finish dusting the top of this bread Perfect. So you don't want to have, you want it, when you put this into the oven, put it towards the lower rack, and then you're going to take a sheet of aluminum foil and you're going to put it on the rack above, because this cinnamon sugar, by the time 45 minutes to an hour comes up, it could burn, so you really want to be careful with that. So just kind of put a piece of aluminum foil on the rack above where no direct heat will get on top of this. Okay? Again, you're going to take like a toothpick or a little knife and just kind of go through it, and if it comes out clean, it means it's done. Now what I just want to do is just take a little, like, I have a plastic knife, and I'm just going to swirl the cinnamon so it kind of really goes throughout, and the batter and the cinnamon get really mixed. I'm not trying to mix this all in, just trying to bring some swirls in here. And now this is going to go into a 350 oven, and we'll check it in about 45 minutes to an hour. Our cinnamon swirled chocolate chip bread took about 50 minutes. This will stay really good for about 4 to 5 days on the counter, but you can keep it in the refrigerator up to a week. It also freezes really well. So everybody, thank you for always watching my classes. Happy New Year, happy 2021 to everyone, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.
No, you just have to wait.